Hello, today I'm making this extra video for you, which I hope that it's something you're going to enjoy and get things out of. And yeah, I know I kind of promised this when I was making the Tresena video last week. I know I said I'll make this video about the Tz'apin Q'ij, about the final 5 days of the solar year. So here I am, just after sunset on the day, right now we're on the day 7 Achmach, and we'll be going into the day 8 Noch, and it will be 8 Noch 0 Tz'apin Q'ij, the seating of the Tz'apin Q'ij, the beginning of the final 5 days of the year. Now, those 5 days, of course I've been reading around about them and thinking about them, and it's something that I've been observing for many years. And those final 5 days are seen as days of introspection. I think part of it is, it's about a bit like getting your house in order, ready for the new year to come in, as it will do in 5-6 days' time. It's about making sure that things have been completed. Now, I was reading a very interesting article earlier on today about how, kind of like when we see a 360-day year, there's a symmetry. We can have these 18 winal. We can have these 18 months of the solar calendar, working through them, understanding them. It all goes right. And then you have this little 5-day chunk at the end. And that 5-day chunk is seen as, in some ways, it messes with the symmetry of the year. Because we've got to fit those extra 5 days in somewhere. Now, in the Yucatan, in the Harb calendar, those 5 days are called Wayeb. And actually the Harb calendar is a little bit different, and the Harb calendar will have its New Year Day. I think it's around about 29th of March or something like that. Anyway, it's 40 days later. And here in the Highlands, there are different names for the months. And the final 5 days are called Tz'apin Q'ij. Now, those days, because they are out of symmetry, they're sort of seen as being a bit out of whack. And because of that, it kind of means that, those days are maybe not the best days to make bold moves. I sometimes think of it as like, if time was a ship, and the ship has a captain, for these final 5 days, in the 360 preceding days of the year 12 Noch, the Mam has been guiding us through, the year bearer, the Lord of the year, has been bearing us through. And he's exhausted. And these 5 days, there's just nothing more for him to do. And so, kind of we're on our own a bit with it. And so, we could understand that maybe these are not days for big moves. Maybe these are not days for, kind of like taking great action or something like that. And in fact, they're often seen as these introspective days of meditation and contemplation. I sometimes think of it as, maybe some people in the Western world, and certainly when I was there at that point in time, that time between Christmas and New Year, where you're not quite sure what's going on, and you're gearing up, and you're having, a bit of an, okay, what have we done in the last year, and what do we want to do in the next year? It's a great time to be looking at exactly those kind of things. To take some time to go inwards, to meditate, to contemplate. It's a time when they don't necessarily, suggest it's a great time for making big ceremonies and having public gatherings and that kind of thing. As I say, the energy's a little bit wonky at that time of year. Okay, so what I wanted to bring tonight, and it's something that I will also be writing about on my daily posts, is how we might go about using the energy of these days to the best, to our advantage. How can we, get the best out of these days? And so we're going to begin with the day 8 Noach 0 Tz'apin Q'ij. And this is the first day of the Tz'apin Q'ij. You'll see it's kind of a little bit weird because they start with 0. So the first day is 0 and the fifth day is 4. So it kind of looks a little bit weird, but that's the way that it works. And the first day can be seen as review. Okay, a review of the 360 days. Now, interestingly enough, it carries the nawal 8 Noach. And 8 Noach was the year bearer, the mam, of the year 2020. So it's like 4 years ago. The last time that we saw Noach was 8 Noach. The year that we've been in, the year that we are leaving, is the year 12 Noach. So it's almost as if it's like the year bearer from the last time around has come to at least lend a hand, as it were. But if we're looking at it from a point of view of Noach, the mind, Noach, thought, ideas, Noach representing our ability to solve problems using the information that we carry, the number 8 representing wholeness, and here it's on the first day of the Tz'apin Q'ij. And so this day of review, it's a day to be reviewing your thoughts. It's a day to be reviewing the information that's come to you over the last 360 days since the year 12 Noach began in February of last year. So we can look back and think about all of the different information that's come to us, all of the different ideas, and maybe the new ideas that have come to you, maybe bring them together with old ideas, that wholeness, kind of like seaming the new idea and the old idea together to continue the fabric. Perhaps there's new information that's come to light that's helped you to come up with a solution. Perhaps this is something that you can review on this first day of the Tz'apin Q'ij. What have I learnt this year that's helping me to solve problems in my community, solve problems in my world? What's helping me to go forwards with it? We then move into the second day of the Tz'apin Q'ij, which falls on the day 90 hash. So 90 hash we can see as a day of healing. We can see it as a day of the purification of life, because Tihash we could see, I've got my props with me, the obsidian blade which is cutting through to the truth, which is cutting through to what's divine, what's real. It's cutting away disease, it's cutting away imbalance, it's cutting away injustice in order to cut through to the truth. And when we combine it with the number 9, perhaps this is much more in life. Now, I like to see Tihash as the sculptor. I like to see Tihash as the having that discernment, knowing exactly what to cut away as a surgeon. And here, on the second day of the Tz'apin Q'ij, this is seen, or could be seen, as a day of recognition. And so as we move into that day 90 hash 1 Tz'apin Q'ij, we could be seeing that as a day of recognizing what we need to perform surgery on, of recognizing what we carry within ourselves that we wish to, let's say, cut away during this period of introspection. We wish to cut away in order to not take it into the new year. What do we need to release, as it were? What do we need to make our surgery on? What do we need to edit to take forwards in the new year? How can we bring that greater state of healing, greater state of health, greater state of being, cutting through to the divine? How can we recognize within ourselves what we need to do in order to achieve that? And so 90 hash may bring the focus and understanding of what we can recognize. Now we can also recognize ourselves as a warrior. We could recognize ourselves as a surgeon. We could recognize the truth out there, in here. We could be cutting our way through to that truth once we recognize what we're looking for. The third day of the Tz'apin Q'ij falls on 10 Kawok. Kawok, the nawal of the new birth. The nawal, another healing day. And here we see it as the feminine healing day. We see it as the day of rain. And we see it connected with the number 10. Hands coming together in community, helping each other out. Now, Kawok, I often refer to as tough love. It's the midwife that's helping us going through the birthing process, and that's not always a lot of fun. You know, there's the pain involved, but it's about birthing the new into the world, bringing the new forwards, bringing the new life forwards. And here with the number 10, we can see that, yes, cooperation, yes, community, but also giving a hand up, helping each other through this transition period, helping each other through this birthing period. So whilst I said that this is a time of introspection, this may be a day where you might reach out to help each other through it. The third day of the Tz'apin Q'ij is associated with acceptance. Perhaps on 10 Kawok, this can be the acceptance of help, the acceptance of each other, the acceptance of, kind of like sometimes that the birthing process is going to be difficult and maybe messy and all of that kind of thing. That's our healing process that we're going through. It's accepting the hands of others to help us through the healing process and bonding that community. When we go through things together, it makes a much stronger bond between us. And so when we are accepting the hands of others to help us through that process, perhaps that's a good project for that 10 Kawok day. The fourth day of the Tz'apin Q'ij falls on 11 Achpu. The fourth day is said to represent definition. 11 Achpu. This is a high-numbered day. Well, they're all high-numbered days as we get to this end of it, aren't they? Achpu, our quest for the divine, our quest for higher purpose, our quest for the hero within. And of course, this is going to take us up against challenges. How can my hero overcome this challenge? The number 11, taking us in many different directions to find that divine aspect. And here on this fourth day of the Tz'apin Q'ij, on this day of definition, maybe we're being asked to define our hero's path. Maybe we're being asked to define what it is that we're following. Now, I like to think of the 11 as being highly creative, but they are also creative because they go their own way. They work intuitively with what comes along. And so if we're talking about Achpu representing the spiritual path, and we're talking about the 11 representing working intuitively to see what comes along, it's a time to be kind of like looking around and saying, okay, does that fit in? Does that fit in? Does that fit in? Am I going to follow this path? Get in touch with that path? To not constrict ourselves in a kind of like dogmatic view of following one path. Allow ourselves to use our discernment, allow ourselves to use our intuition to go and find out about these different paths which may be out there. And then use that to perhaps define our way forward for the coming year. And so, again, if we didn't know that it existed, if we hadn't gone exploring, then we might get stuck in this rather closed worldview. But perhaps 11 Achpu stimulates our creativity. Perhaps it stimulates our ability to put things together in a different way. And on this fourth day of the Tz'apin Q'ij, we are defining how it takes us forwards. The final day of the Tz'apin Q'ij falls on the day 12 Imosh. The final day is said to represent emergence. This coming back out of that little cocoon that we've built, breaking out of that metamorphosis that we've been through, breaking out of that chrysalis. And here we see it on the day 12 Imosh. Imosh representing the waters, Imosh representing the dreams, delving into the collective consciousness to understand how we can move forwards with it. As we do, we see the number 12. Now, Imosh can be about going to the water, can be about going into the dream world and understanding what dreams we want to bring in. What dreams do you have for this new solar year which is coming? But we also see with that high number, there's a possibility that our little psychic antenna are all turned up a little bit too high, and maybe we're getting too caught up on all the stuff which is going on out there. Maybe we're getting too hooked in to the psyche of what's going on around us. I often talk about Imosh days being days to, kind of like detach from the media. Pull the plug out, turn off the TV as it were, stop listening to the news or everything that we're being bombarded with right now. And remember your own dreams. Remember your individuality. Now with that number 12, the 12 can represent our life experience. So perhaps it's got to do with our life experience guiding us to understand how to have sovereignty within the dream. How to almost detach from the collective so that we can remember our own dreams. And on this day, representing emergence, perhaps this is a time to emerge into the dream that your life experiences have guided you towards. To use your life experience to enhance your sovereignty, to understand what you need to plug into and what you don't. And certainly, as I say, Imosh days I often think are great days for a solitary retreat by water, and with this being during this introspective time, maybe that's what would be very beneficial. Help to remember your own dream. So of course, after we've finished those 5 days of the Tz'apin Q'ij, we will then go into the new year, which will be on the day 13 Ik. So 13 Ik will be the Mam, the Cargador, the bearer of the coming solar year. And I will make another video at the end of the Tz'apin Q'ij with my ideas about what that might bring. So, I hope this has been interesting for you. And, well, I look forward to speaking again as we enter the new solar year. Thank you.